Hey, everybody. Master Toby Milroy here again, Vice President for AMS. And thanks again so much for taking this time out of your day to work on your business rather than just working in your business. I think I say that just about every time we get together. And I always think that it's a really important habit to develop in growing your business. You always have to take time to work on the business. I know we as martial artists like an awful lot to be in the business, but we also are the key driver of our business. So we have to make sure we spend time thinking about what the business should be like. I'd like to thank the AMAA and Grandmaster Jesse Bowen for putting together this event for everybody. You know, one of the things that we really struggle with in the martial arts industry is building that balance between building a really good martial arts school, developing very high quality students, and also generating enough income and revenue to be able to live an abundant lifestyle and build a real solid business. And what I've discovered over my years is that in my career is that it's not really about one sacrificing the other. In fact, the other one augments the other. The higher quality we can push our quality standards, the higher we can push our standards of ourselves and for our students, the better financial results can be. And so I think we're going to spend a little bit of time today talking about, this COVID crisis and what comes next, and how we can take our school to the next level very quickly as this crisis passes. And in fact, we've learned and seen how many schools, including some of my own, have actually thrived during this time, not just survived. So we're going to reveal the 5 keys to getting to making the comeback much greater than the setback, right? For making 2021 a record year for your school and for the martial arts in general. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen here with you. Okay, I think that you can now see my presentation. So I think maybe wave at me if you can see that okay, right? Okay, I think we're okay. Yeah, it looks like we're working just fine. Okay, so the 5 master keys to reopening your martial arts school strong. And, for some of our industry, this has been a death nail. Some schools will not come back from COVID. But our industry is ripe for a huge boom when this sort of is trailing off and ending, especially for those schools who have pivoted well during this time. So let's again spend this time talking directly about this. So number one is I'll be happy to send you the slides of today's presentation, anything that you might want to see. Absolutely feel free and welcome to take notes and jot down any ideas that you might have. If you do have any questions about anything that we covered today, or you'd like me to expand on something, or perhaps we touch a topic that you'd like to see explored more deeply, or you have specific questions about anything that we talked about, or just anything, operating your martial arts school successfully in general, feel free to send me an email here. You can find me on Facebook at toby.milroy. Or you can email me at tobymilroy@ourams.com. You can even call my our headquarters here at 800-275-1600 and talk to any of our team members. I have team members manning the phones every day, and they can certainly get your questions to me, and we can sort of handle them that way. So again, I'm happy to send you the slides of what we're doing today. Just drop me an email or hit me on Facebook, and I'll zap those over to you. Next is, I always feel that it's important. I believe in the 5-to-1 principle, and I believe that we should be delivering, $5 in value for every $1 in tuition that we charge or more. And I don't know what you paid to be here today. Usually at events like this, we typically charge between, $300, $500, maybe $1,000 per attendee. I'm not sure what you paid to be here today, but I want to make sure that I can deliver 5 times whatever that value is. And so before we go any further, jot this URL down. Go to, let me move my little picture out of the way. That might be bad. Go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19. If you go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19, I've got a huge toolkit of over 150 items, over 150 free tools to help you in your recovery from COVID-19, from this disruption in the industry. So, and there's absolutely no cost or obligation. You simply go there, request those free tools, and you get immediate access to them. And there's literally, we'll talk about this more deeply today, but there's literally every single thing you're going to need so far as marketing and promoting your school after this thing is over, even in the waning days, even if you're building your membership now, even before the crisis ends. So take a moment to go there, atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19. So jot that URL down. So one of the things that, when Grandmaster Bowen asked me to come on today and chat with everybody and sort of reveal what's been working for our clients and what's been working for our own schools during these very difficult times, I always ask myself, how can I best contribute to you and to what you're trying to accomplish in your school? And I think for me, I've been so blessed and fortunate in my career in the martial arts industry. I've had the blessing and opportunity of working with some of the most successful school operators in the world, building a very successful multi-school organization. And then, having the blessing and the opportunity to have piloted the National Association of Professional Martial Artists for 6 or 7 years. And then now in my role at AMS, with that combination of experience and roles, I've had the blessing and opportunity to have seen behind the scenes of more martial arts schools than probably anybody in the industry I can think of. We work with a couple of thousand clients here at AMS. We had a couple thousand members with NATMA, with the coaching and consulting arrangements that I've done and organizations we've worked with, and then large martial arts associations that I've worked with. I've had the opportunity to see the real deal, right? Behind the numbers, right? Behind the scenes of martial arts schools at a higher degree than really anybody I can think of. So I thought maybe that's what I could help you with today. Maybe I could shed some light on what's working in the industry, not just for one or two schools in like a prime demographic, right? Not like one model in, I don't know, like San Francisco or LA or New York, Manhattan, or Washington, D.C., where the demographic is skewed, very high or something like that, but more a broader perspective of what's working in schools all over the country. In fact, even in some of the more challenging areas, if something's working really well in a very difficult area, it works great in a great area. The opposite is not always true, right? What works really, really well in downtown Manhattan might not work at all in the center of the country, right? So today, I think maybe that's what I can help contribute the most is some perspective in what's happening in the broader market, in the broader industry, not just in some prime areas, if that makes any sense. So the 5 master keys. Key number 1 is this, and I know that this might sound a little esoteric or maybe a little ethereal, but number 1 is you got to get your head straight. Right? Look, COVID was bad, right? Let me say it differently. The response to COVID has been very bad, right? Has been very bad for small businesses, has been very bad for the martial arts industry in macro, in general. But, and running a school in general is not an easy thing, right? I mean, it's like being in a 12-round title fight. And by now, it's like round 8 or 9. Right? And even if you were winning the fight up until now, that means you've still been punched in the face for 8 straight rounds, right? So, we've been in a battle against COVID, against, government shutdowns and regional shutdowns, even statewide shutdowns, things like that. And the market's general sense of angst and uncertainty about coming to classes where there are a bunch of people. Right. They might be exposed to, the virus or in some other way feel unsafe. So we really have been in a hell of a fight. So as all of us know, and as our good friend Grandmaster Jeff Smith in some cases, has described to me in some ways, when it's round 8 and you've been punched in the face for 8 straight rounds and the bell rings and you go sit on the corner and sit on the stool in the corner, you are the least objective person in the building about how the fight is going. Does that make sense? When you're in the middle of the battle, when your nose has been broken for 3 rounds and your ribs were cracked in the 2nd round and it's hard to breathe and you've got blood coming out of the side of your mouth and your hands hurt, you're the worst person in the building to analyze what's happening in the fight, right? So when you're sitting on that stool in the corner, it's critical that you've got a wonderful, an objective eye, an objective coach who's in your ear telling you what's really happening out there, right? Because a lot of the things that are happening to you, you're not consciously aware of in many cases. And the same is true in your martial arts school, in your business. Some of the challenges that you're having may have been there way before COVID, right? But the pressure of COVID has revealed it, these types of things. So it's like being in a 12 round title fight. And the first thing you've got to really make sure you get right is your perspective, your thinking, right? Getting your head straight about this thing. And here's the way I like to look at this. And this is, I think, for me, this is incredibly important and has been incredibly valuable in my own life and in my own career, not just in the martial arts, but just in general as a human being. I think it's several concentric circles. The first thing you've got to have right are your belief systems. No matter what you want to change, what you want to improve, what actions you want to take in your life, anything that you want to do to make your life better, your life, your business, whatever it might be, the first and most important thing is to make sure that your thinking, your head is straight. Because if your belief systems are messed up, if you believe that no one can be successful right now, if you believe that you cannot lose that extra 10 pounds of weight, if you have these beliefs in your mind, then any actions that you take are going to be ineffective. Does that make sense? So one way I think to define this is that even though things are difficult right now, which they absolutely are for many, many, many people, even though that's true, I look at the data behind the scenes. I see our clients' billing information. I see how much they bill their clients, how much their tuition is, how much they collect in down payments, how much they collect in paid in fulls, how much they collect in retail sales. And I can tell you that the top 20, 25% of our clients are actually doing better right now than they were 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 7 months ago, right? A few are even doing better than they were last year. But there have been lots of strategies that we could deploy to turn the crisis into opportunity. But too many of our fellow school operators in the industry simply just failed to do that, right? They were just overwhelmed by the challenge, and instead of doing what we teach our students and rising to the challenge and testing different approaches and working hard and training, instead they felt overwhelmed and they just did not rise to the occasion, right? They weren't able to adapt or pivot, or they just chose a different path, and absolutely identified that there are some circumstances that have been beyond school's control, no question about it. But there are also many, many things we do control. So number one is you have to have your beliefs straight. And I'll tell you a quick story, if you don't mind, in just a moment here. It'll only take a moment. My own experience with this is, I think, incredibly, for me, has been incredibly impactful in my life and in my career. And when I was growing my martial arts schools initially, first of all, they just weren't very good. When I first opened schools, they were just mediocre at best. And I was smart enough and had a wonderful partner and a wonderful organization to be part of. But I was smart enough, I got lucky enough that we decided to have great mentors, to go find a great mentor, a great group of mentors, in fact. And one of the things that in my mind, I had resigned myself to believing that, the demographic where I opened that first school just wasn't the right area. Right? It just wasn't the best place. And so I had my head all messed up about that. And on a conference call, one of the members of the group said, wait a minute, Toby, go over to the window right now and look out. And I want you to look at every luxury car that drives by and tell me what it is. Tell me, they know I'm like a car guy, right? So they said, I want you to name every luxury car that drives by. And so I said, okay, no problem. There ain't many of them. And I went out and I looked out the window, and in my mind, my screwed up belief system forced me to believe that the demographic was the problem, right? That there weren't enough people in that area who could afford my lessons, who were eager to invest in their children's lives, who were good enough prospects for me. And that's why the schools were just doing mediocrely well. But then I looked out the window, and while I was on the phone with them, I started naming the luxury cars. And by God, there goes a Lexus. And then 8, 9 cars later, there goes a nice Mercedes, like a C-Class. Like an E-Class, right? And then, by God, there goes a little Beamer. 5, 6 cars later. 5, 6 cars later, there's a nice SUV, like a big Infinity. See, your brain registers the things that you're already looking for, right? What you focus on expands. And if I kept believing that everybody in my area was broke and that everybody in my area didn't meet the demographic profile that would help me grow my school, if I continued to believe that, there's nothing I could have done to grow the school, nothing, because I would have always fallen back on that excuse. And now with COVID and the associated response to COVID, we have wonderful excuses for not doing well. We can blame the government. We can blame the Fed. We can blame lack of stimulus. We can blame the governor. We can blame city officials. We can blame lots of people. And you're partially right, right? Some of it is their fault. But you can only control you. You can only control your response. And that's where I think we have opportunity. Does that make sense? So number one is we have to make sure our belief systems are right. And I'm telling you right now is one of the best times in the history of martial arts to grow your school. And I'll describe why in just a couple of minutes. After we have our beliefs straight, next we can talk about strategy, right? And then we have to have the correct strategies in place in order for the right tactics to work well, right? And then once we know the right tactics to deploy, then we have to focus on how well we execute, right? So I like this beliefs, strategy, tactics, execution. I like that paradigm. It really helps. It really helps me focus my own and my staff's time on what's important, right? And we always have to make sure that we have our belief systems in line before anything else happens, right? We have to absolutely know that we can overcome this and be committed to the process of figuring out ways to make it work well. Does that make sense? So I hope that's useful for you. Beliefs, strategy, tactics, execution. I think that's been huge for me in my own career, in my own life, and I think that it will help you help us frame our conversation today. If you already have resigned mentally to there ain't no way you're going to come back from this, and ain't nothing you can do to overcome this, then that's like going into the fight knowing you're going to lose, right? That's like getting into the ring, and before you even got to the ring, you already knew the guy was going to beat you. Well, we know better, don't we? Right? So this is a fight worth gearing up for. So as I described, I think right now, is perhaps the best time to grow a martial arts school, probably in the last 20 years. I don't know if this is going to be bigger than the Karate Kid boom or not, but I think it's going to be close. And I think it could be bigger. And there's a lot of reasons why. If you think about what the market has been through, certainly what we've been through, but what have our customers been through? What have our families been through? What have our communities been through? One is there have been incredibly limited outlets for kids and adults, right? Very limited outlets. People aren't going to the gym. They're not, they in large part were locked in their homes for a very long period of time, especially in extreme examples like California, New York, et cetera. But there have been very limited outlets, for kids even going to school and things like that. So this sense of being cooped up and the sense of all this angst and psychological and emotional and physical damage that's being done is a real problem. With these limited outlets for kids and parents are really feeling the pain right now. They're really feeling how frustrated their children are getting. They're getting on their nerves too, right? And it's causing behavioral problems. It's causing emotional problems. It's causing physical and fitness problems that are really critical to be solved. And we are a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful solution to those problems. So really, it's almost like we have the cure over here. And what's happening every day is people are getting sicker. And it's driving them closer to our cure, right? Now what we need to do is make sure we get in front of them and let them know that we have the cure, right? Also, with new tools and technology, they're empowering us like never before. We've never had platforms. We've never had video conference platforms that are as good as what we have now. We've never had the ability to deliver our curriculum over the internet the way we do now. And we have lots and lots of tools and technology that really give us an advantage. And if we can deploy these in the marketing realm and in the student service realm and in the student retention realm, now you will have a tremendous advantage over the competitors in your area. And I'm telling you right now, even in today's day and age, our industry sucks at marketing online. And now's the chance for you to get your feet wet, get good at this, And as that boom starts to happen, you'll be leveraged, you'll be positioned well to take advantage of it well. So, so we have these huge advantages now that we've never had before, right? We've had this huge pent-up demand that's coming, and we have the tools now to be able to leverage it at a very, very, very high level. Key number 2. So number 1 is getting your head straight. Key number 1 was getting your head straight, right? Getting and keeping your head in the game, making sure that our belief systems are aligned with what our objectives are. It might sound ethereal. It might sound somewhat psychobabbly, but if you walk to the ring already beat, you're going to get beat. In this case, we got to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off. When the bell rings, it's time to go, right? Key number 2 is virtual lessons, the things that we've been doing with virtual lessons. I'm sure you've been doing this. If you haven't been, it's a tremendous opportunity that you should take advantage of. We've learned a lot over the last few months about delivering martial arts lessons online over Zoom, over video on our websites, over mobile apps, et cetera, et cetera. And we found a lot of benefits that we're going to continue to leverage even after in-person classes kind of get back to, as close to normal as we're ever going to be. But even so, we're still going to continue to leverage a lot of these online mechanisms. Number 1 is many schools are doing at least partial or full online delivery of their programs, right? For schools that can do in-person classes again, continuing the online version of it has been very, very valuable for them, right? For schools that were only locked down for a month or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, in some cases, if they executed online lessons well, they had barely a blip in their revenue. For schools that have been locked down for longer, if they've pivoted to online and executed very well, they've actually been able, in many cases, to now create a new revenue stream, right? That will keep going if we execute this well as we get back to in-person classes. So what we've learned is somewhat of a hybrid of both in-person and online, including publishing those videos perhaps into the archive that people can consume on their websites. So we've learned that just delivering video that they watch on their own isn't as good. We need the interaction, right? We need the instructor watching the students and diagnosing and things like that. Students can learn the first 5 moves of a form by watching a one-way video, right? But to get the class experience, you really need to have that two-way interaction, right? We've also found that using the video platform, in addition to small private lessons, either by breakout rooms or special appointments or whatever the case is, also adds a lot of value to our program. So for example, if before when I was teaching in person only, if I only did group classes, but now I took my group classes and I'm executing them online. But in addition to the online classes, they also get a small group or private lessons once a week or once every couple of weeks. That's helped us add value to the programs. And many clients I'm working with have actually found now that they can charge higher tuition and get better results for their students because now they are having more one-on-one personal interaction. So for example, if I'm a martial arts school owner and I have 1 or 2 staff members, just saying, each one of them could conduct little one-on-one privates in a breakout room or whatever the case might be, and really get students even more individual attention than they might have been getting in group classes. So we've been able to use that both as a profit center, as a growth center, but also just in many cases, schools haven't wanted to charge extra for that. They've just added value to their program for the same tuition. And gosh, doesn't that just thrill our customers, right? It's a wonderful experience for your students who now are getting a better experience than they might have been even before. We've also learned that over Zoom and over distance learning online platforms, we've been able to reattract former students who've moved away and also attract referrals and other students that are outside of our area. So, for example, one of our locations in Orlando, we have 65 students now training that don't live in Florida, right? These are people who've been following us online, who've subscribed to subscribe to different, free widgets here and there. And when we finally offered online training to them, they said yes, right? They've been on our email list forever. have never been able to really do anything because we only delivered classes, within a 5 to 7 mile radius around our location, but they live in Washington State. They live in California. A few are overseas, right? So that in addition has been an additional profit center. It never would have enrolled those students. Never, right? Those students that quit and went off to college and just never came back, or those adults that moved because of their job, if we give them an option to do it remotely, they can do it, right? Many can, right? Many can. So this idea of these distant students, and people who have been referred from other students has really been wonderful for us. And in many cases, this has actually been a growth center in schools. So you should really be thinking about that. Another lesson that we've learned is that we can enroll students in our virtual programs at substantially similar tuition, at full tuition and full term. Meaning if I usually do a 6-month program, I can still do a 6-month program. If I usually do a 12-month program, I can do a 12-month program. As long as we provide a substantially similar enrollment experience. Does that make sense? So just because I'm teaching online lessons doesn't mean that I now don't enroll students the same way, that I change all that, right? It doesn't mean that I just put up a web page and have them register themselves, right? I could do that. We've got the technology to do that. But that experience is very different than doing a one-on-one analysis and evaluation with a master instructor, with an instructor, and then having that instructor analyze your performance, analyze your capabilities, and give you good advice on what program would be best for you. Does that make sense? So as long as we keep that really good, tight enrollment process, like we all do in our professional schools, right? Then we can enroll them just exactly the same way we used to when it was in person, right? So that's another lesson that we've learned that will stick with us. These more than 65 students in the Orlando school who are training remotely, every one of them, they started on a little trial, a couple lessons, right? Just like we typically do. We did a one-on-one evaluation with them, and then we enrolled them on a 12-month program, right? Just like we do for regular students. Nothing changed, right? So that's 65 new students on full 12-month programs at full tuition, $200 a month, $197 a month, that we never, ever, ever would have enrolled otherwise, right? So again, consider this as part of an ongoing strategy as we move forward and learn these lessons that we've learned, collectively. We've also learned that there are tons and tons and tons of marketing opportunities for us online, on social media, in groups, on pages. As COVID locked down more and more of the country, more and more people spent more and more exponential amounts of time on social, right? On Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on others, Pinterest. So these platforms have given us amazing marketing capabilities for very little amounts of money that have been really a boon for us. So again, these marketing opportunities abound online now, especially in social and things like that. Also, we've learned that when we record these sessions, we record every single lesson that we teach, right? We record every single Zoom lesson. We record every single one-on-one and private lesson and things like that as well. And, we publish those to our members' website, which I can show you here in a little while. And then students can go access them, at their leisure behind a password-protected wall. But this has given us an opportunity to give instructors better feedback than we've ever been able to have before, right? Think about multi-school operators. I can't go watch every class that every instructor teaches. We have the school surveilled. We have cameras in place and things like that, but I can't watch every class. But now I can go pull the Zoom file. I can go pull the video file, and we can watch these. And we've been doing this every single staff meeting. We've been pulling out lessons, Zoom lessons, and watching the video together. We'll spend 15, 20 minutes watching the class and improving how our approach works in class, right? Now we can have literally post-game analysis, just like a football team, right? Where we can watch the film of what happened, what went right here, what went wrong here, what can we do better next time, right? So this has been a tremendous advantage for us. And I think virtual lessons should be a tool in your toolbox now and forever as we move through this crisis and perhaps through the crisis, right? As I described, you really want to make sure that your website, we'll talk about lead generation here in a little while, but when it comes to delivering your lessons via the web, I like to keep them not going to the Zoom platform natively, but coming to my website to participate in their Zoom classes. And I know it launches their little sprite and stuff like that, but I want them coming to my site all the time, right? I want to build that pattern of behavior and that relationship for them coming to the site over and over and over again. Helps my SEO, helps my traffic, helps all sorts of things, but it also puts them on a page that I can control. So for example, here on our site is where we might put offers for referrals, where we might want students to refer their friends, where we might want them to think about training as a family, where we might want them thinking about our leadership programs and thinking about those types of things, or leaving us a review. This page is designed to get them to leave us a review. So once I can control the page that they're on, I can now do all sorts of things when they attend class, right? And so the platform that we provide for our clients at Atlas Martial Arts Software allows our clients to go in and do whatever they want to with these pages. They can put whatever offers they can do whatever they want with them, right? And our team helps them. So again, every single class is an opportunity for you to get a referral, for you to get them to add a family member on. You can see him walking around in the back of the video, can't you? Right? To get a family member to add on. It's an opportunity for an upgrade or an ascension. Perhaps that student is ready and qualified to train at a higher level with you, whatever the case might be. It's an opportunity for additional seminars and additional contact and opportunity that we have there. It's also an opportunity for retail sales. So, but if I'm just delivering a Zoom link, right, and they're going over the Zoom platform, I can't control that page, right, as much. So on this, I can deliver everything directly through my platform, right, that I can control. So think about that. It's something that we do for our clients. It's something that's a very useful tool and has helped us really helped us with a lot of referrals and a lot of family add-ons that probably wouldn't have happened otherwise, but we gave them the mechanism. We showed them how to make it easy, and many did it. So something to be thoughtful of there. So number one, keep your head straight. Number two, virtual lessons, right? Number three is we have to take responsibility for building the community's confidence in their safety coming back to class, right? Back to in-person classes. And you can't take this lightly. Even after vaccine gets prevalence in our herd immunity kind of a status, still some prospective students might have some reticence about coming in and working out, coming in and training with a group. So we've got to take responsibility for making sure they understand how safe our facilities are and will be. It's not enough for us to make them safe. That's required. That's essential, but not adequate. Not only do they have to actually be safe when they come in, right? We have to be taking adequate precautions, but they also have to feel that they're going to be safe when they come in. Does that make sense? Perception is everything, unfortunately, right? So not only do we have to make our facilities safe, do the appropriate, take the appropriate steps, but we also have to clearly communicate that with our current students, their friends, their families, and our market in general. Does that make sense? You cannot miss that step. You can't just assume that they're going to know you're doing this stuff, right? So we want to clearly communicate our procedures, the things that we're doing to make sure that they're safe when they come to class. Whether we're how we're following CDC guidelines, local guidance, et cetera, the types of PPE we're using, the types of contact. Perhaps we're not making contact in class anymore, for a while, whatever the case is, our sanitization procedures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the point here, the magic here, the important part that so much of our industry misses, it's not enough to just be good at what you do. That's essential, but not adequate. Right? It's not enough to be great. They have to feel it. They have to understand it. It has to be communicated well to the prospect, to our students, to their families, and to our communities. Does that make sense? So don't miss that step. We've got to make sure that we're clearly communicating that with our students. It's all about relationship. This is about building relationships. Right. And if you have that level of trust with your students, you must re-earn that trust every interaction. Does that make sense? You either earn that trust or you break that trust. And this is all about building better relationships. And the level of communication that I'm recommending is incredibly more frequent than what most martial arts schools do in a regular month or a regular week or a regular day, right? We need to be inundating them with videos of our cleaning procedures, with text messages and emails and every single thing that we can possibly do. I mean, over communicate what's going on here by email, by text message, by personal phone calls, by mail, by flyer, by signage. We'll drive home and talk to them if we have to, right? But we need to take that responsibility on ourselves to make sure that our students are safe when they come back to classes and feel that they're going to be safe when they come back to classes. Does that make sense? So key number 3 is building community confidence. And again, this is where I can help you a lot. This is one of those areas where I can help you a lot. And I can do it completely free with no obligation. If you go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19, if you go to that page, you can request all these free tools. There are like 150 different pieces of tool there that you can. There are emails that you can send to your families describing your safety precautions. There are videos that you can put on social media, that you can put on your website. There are audio scripts. There are phone call scripts. There are tools to help you help people understand how they can train at home. Help them understand how you can help elementary schools with their PE programs. How you can help adults with their fitness objectives. How you can there's 150. There's more than 150 tools there for you to help you communicate to your market and over communicate to your students. Does that make sense? So go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19 and you can download all that stuff completely free. I've even had my team here spend a lot of time and money and energy on converting all of these ads and these pieces of content over to Google Documents and Google Slides. So you don't even need to have software. You don't even need to have expensive graphic software or editing software to use this stuff. You can go directly over to free Google Slides or free Google Docs and customize the headline and customize your offers and customize your contact information. Do whatever you want with them, right? So please go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/COVID-19 and we can really help you with that communication process. This is so critically important to pushing through this challenge and creating real opportunity when you get back, when we get back to live classes. In addition to that, there are also, almost forgot to mention, there are also a huge number of tools on this page to help you promote your virtual classes. Whether you're doing virtual only or hybrid, whether you're doing in person, whatever your situation is during this difficult time, we've spent almost $50,000 developing videos and ads and content and things like that you can use totally free, right? So just go download all that stuff, download every bit of it, right? Edit them up, change them, and use them ad libitum, right? I'd love to see our entire industry benefit from this stuff. So please take that opportunity to do that, and you can you'll save yourself a ton of time, a ton of energy, a ton of money, a ton of heartache, and this will make you a lot of money, right? This will really help you grow your business. So clearly communicating the benefit, the safety level that we have. So some of the precautions I'm sure that you're already taking, but let me just go through a quick laundry list of things that we're doing that may stimulate some thought. Again, this is for in-person classes where we are in fact able to do that. We're disinfecting, cleaning the mats between each class. We're disinfecting, wipe down of all doors, door handles, chairs, countertops, card racks, shoe cubbies, desks, phones, keyboards, mice, and all other commonly touched surfaces at least 3 times per day. We're disinfecting training equipment after each class. So like the pads and bags and things like that. We're using disposable training aids where possible. So for example, in most cases, we're not even using vinyl targets and things like that right now. We're using like kicking papers or x-rays or things like that. And then we're disposing of them after every class. So we're not using them in more than one class. We're disinfecting, cleaning of all the surfaces and fixtures in the restrooms between each class. We have hand sanitizer stationed at the front counter and in each restroom. We're limiting guests in the spectator lobby. I hate this. I hate it, but we're doing it. We don't allow people to come in and watch classes. We limit how many people are going to be in there, right? So for the time being, we have our parents wait in the car. Right. And we're not allowing any guests in classes, things like that. All classes, students, parents, and guests, or anyone entering the school will be required to sanitize hands. We also do temperature checks. All staff, students, parents, and guests will be required to wear face coverings adequate to cover the nose and the mouth, et cetera, et cetera. In some states, this is a bigger deal than others. In some areas of some states, it's a bigger deal than others. But even so, we've been requiring it. If someone has an objection, we deal with it, one-on-one. But just to help everybody feel more comfortable, we're sort of requiring that. So we've added foot opening devices on the door, so you don't even have to touch door handles. There's a little foot opening wedge that you can bolt onto your door, so that people don't even have to touch the door handle. They can open it with their foot. We provided COVID keys, face masks, and hand sanitizers to every student. Little COVID keys, little like copper key thing that you can push buttons with and you can open doors with and things like that, so you don't have to touch anything. All staff members are wearing fresh disposable gloves. We have these little plastic gloves that they wear, things like that. Even though we're limiting contact with students, we're still taking these extra precautions, right? So again, clearly communicating this stuff is critical to building your students' confidence coming back to class. But also, certainly no one wants deeper government intervention or city, state, local intervention in our business, but we have a deeper responsibility. And our responsibility is to take care of the health and wellness of our students. And I think that these are all reasonable measures. Yes, they cost us money. Yes, they cost us effort. We have a team. We have a strike team every day of student helpers and of staff, paid and otherwise, and volunteer, that help us execute this stuff every day. And yes, it's cost us more money. Yes, it's cost us more focus and time and energy and effort. But I believe what we do for the community is worth it. And I believe our students are worth it. So we're going to take that extra time and energy. We're going to make it happen, right? We're going to make sure that our students feel as comfortable as humanly possible coming to in-person classes when they are able to do that. We're limiting close contact in classes. We're not, we're limiting physical contact with students. We're correcting technique at a distance, things like that. We're using distance sparring. We're not making contact, these types of things. So, again, these are the types of adjustments that we've all had to make. I'm sure you're making these adjustments anyway. I just wanted to go through a quick list for you. You can edit and change any of the things that we talked about in this COVID toolkit. So you certainly do not have to be doing all the things that we are. And if you're doing other things, I'd like to know about it. But you can certainly add those and update and change the content and things like that. But the big lesson here again is you got to be clearly communicating to your students and your families and your community what's going on. Does that make sense? So I hope that that's useful. I hope that key number 3 is going to help you there. Key number 4, and this is critical. You have to master the art of online marketing. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are. Right now and in the future, buying behavior has fundamentally changed forever. Up until COVID, the primary discovery process for people who were looking for martial arts lessons, people who were looking for services like martial arts, not just us, is they would get the idea in some way, either by marketing or by some other stimulus. They'd get the idea they might want to do this. They'd go to your website to check you out and then take some further action, come in, call you, whatever the case might be. Well, now with social media and other mechanisms, the online component of that is even more important than ever, because they kind of can't, in some cases, come down and see you, right? In some states, they can't come in. So mastering the art of marketing your school online is now a critical component. It used to be somewhat optional, but it's now a critical component of growing any martial arts school. So you've got to get this right. You've got to get good at this. This is like a strong leg round kick. You got to have this in your game. You've got to have this club in your bag. And one of the things I think that gets really confusing for people, they get mired in all the technical mumbo jumbo. And I'm one of them, right? I'm one of the techno guys. So I know how it is. But here's the way you want to think about it in simple terms, right? There are 3 steps in the online marketing process. 3 steps, not 1, 3, right? There are 3 steps. Number 1 is you've got to drive traffic, meaning you've got to push people to your website. You've got to draw people to your website in some way, shape, or form, right? So your website could be wonderful, but if it's just sitting there and nobody gets there, it really doesn't do you much good, right? So the first mechanism is you have to drive traffic. So whether it's advertising on Facebook, whether it's organic on Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Google AdWords, whether it's flyers, whether it's email, text message, whatever the channel is, whatever the marketing strategy you're deploying is, you've got to be driving traffic. And for right now, we're going to talk about driving it to your website. Once you get the traffic to the website, you want to have a mechanism there that will capture everyone who might be even the least bit interested in your lessons, right? So a low barrier of entry offer is usually what we're looking for. Some schools want to go directly to a sale. They drive traffic to their website, and the only option the prospect has is to buy lessons or to come in for a lesson. But that's an awfully big leap to get somebody to make on a first date, right? That's kind of like meeting a person of the opposite sex at a restaurant or in a bar or something like that. And the first thing you tell them is, hey, do you want to get married? Right? Like, wait, slow down here. You're missing some steps, right? You don't just jump straight into marriage, right? You kind of feel it out first, right? You kind of see if you're a good fit, and you see if you see the world the same way, and you build a little relationship there, right? So the first mechanism that you want to be thinking about shouldn't be, statistically speaking, shouldn't be just an offer for lessons. It should be something less than that. It should be something that everybody who's even a little bit interested in your lessons would say yes to. And coming in for lessons isn't something that everyone would say yes to. That's something that only the very, 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 very qualified, very interested people are going to say yes to, right? So what you want to have is this lead funnel effect, right? You want to capture as many people as you can who are somewhat interested in what you're doing. And then we have aggressive nurturing follow-up mechanisms to warm them up if they're not ready to come in today, right? Then once I've captured all of those, then I show them a free or a paid offer to come in for lessons. Does that make sense? So by putting the lesson mechanism too early in the funnel, too early in the experience, we lose an awful lot of opportunity that we would have otherwise. Does that make sense? So it's 3 steps: drive traffic, capture as many as you capture the even mildly interested, then take everybody in that bucket and then show them an offer of some type for lessons. Does that make sense? So here's how we orchestrate that. We drive traffic to a landing page, a web page, with what we call a lead magnet. See the little magnet there, right? A lead magnet is some kind of a free offer, some kind of a thing that they might want. So let's say that I'm a parent and I'm looking for my child to develop a little bit more self-confidence. So I want to drive them to a landing page whose lead magnet is, attention-loving parents. Would you like the 3 critical keys to doubling your child's self-confidence in 30 days or less? Absolutely free, guaranteed, ? Right? If that's what I wanted, then that's a yes. Anybody getting to that page is probably going to say yes to that, right? So now they fill out what we call a lead feeder form. It's like a web form that lives on your web page. In Atlas Martial Arts software parlance, we call them lead feeders. So they fill in the lead feeder form, and then that data drops into an automated sequence for nurturing, right? So that person's information drops into Atlas software, and it automatically triggers, emails and text messages and all sorts of other activity to help warm those people up, to help get those people who were just a little bit interested, really interested, on autopilot, automatically, right? You got to be doing this right. You got to get this right. I've taken schools personally from 6, 8, 10, 12,000 a month to 25, 30, 40, 50,000 a month just by fixing this hole in their system, right? You got to get this right. And if you need help, I'll help you, right? But you got to get this part of the mechanism right. This is huge opportunity. Then the visitor goes over to a second page, which there becomes the offer page. Does that make sense? So now that I've taken the big market, everybody who's come to the website, and now I've captured everybody who's even a little bit interested. I've also captured the ones who are a lot interested, right? They're going to say yes to the thing too. Then I show them a second thing, which is, hey, would you like to come in for lessons? Basically, would you like to do a free trial, a free, whatever it might be, right? Then whoever takes advantage of that, They also drop into a nurturing funnel, the same thing, appointment reminders and things like that. And then that person goes on to a success page. The visitor goes to a success page where we then prompt them, get this, where we then prompt them to bring a friend to their first lesson, bring their best friend or their brother or sister or something like that to their first trial lesson. Consider enrolling as a family. If you hadn't considered that, consider that we work with all the local elementary schools and you have the opportunity upon enrolling to invite your entire elementary school class to one of our programs, things like that, right? So I can optimize this experience, this user journey, this member journey online in ways that, we were doing live in martial arts schools, but now we can do it even in a better automated way. Does that make sense? So it's a two-step process: lead generate, lead convert. And then once we get them converted, we really, go to town on getting them really excited. Does that make any sense? So think about that. This is critical that you get these steps right. You don't want to miss these steps. And too much of our industry really gets this wrong. And I'm really so grateful for what I do here at Atlas Software, because we help solve that problem for hundreds of schools now, right? So then when we talk about follow-up, now that we've got a bunch of people in our database, we have a bunch of prospects, right? Not just the very few who want to come in anyway, but we have a bunch of other people who are all the way from just mildly interested to very, very, very interested, right? Now we go to work with these sequential multimedia follow-up mechanisms. So we're sending them email and text message and blog posts and videos and personal phone calls and physical letters and video testimonials, all these types of things to get them warmer and warmer and warmer to the point that they're ready to take an action. And we've also now been able to get them to take deeper actions because we have a better relationship with them than we did originally, right? So that's critically important. And if you look at atlasmartialartssoftware.com, one of the things you'll find is that we provide for free for our clients a lead funnel website who operates just like what I'm describing here. And you'll find every approach you can imagine. Any way you want to structure it, we can help you with that. But we also have sort of pre-built structures that you can use that already have been proven to work. So you don't need any guesswork, right? This is stuff that we prove all day long, every day, and I can show you the stats, right? And this is really sort of like one of these plug and play things where once you fix these systems, you can immediately see, you watch the database and you can immediately see the difference, right? So I think it's really something that you should be thinking about. And I'm happy to help anyone who needs help with this. I know how technical it is, right? I know how difficult that can be. So does that make sense? So step 4 is master online marketing. You've got to do that. So number 1, get your head straight, right? Number 2, clearly communicate the precautions that you're taking and all, everything that you're doing to make sure that your market gets it. Number 3, master the art of online marketing. Number 4, wait, I missed one somewhere. You're going to have to go back and review on your own, but I missed one of the 4. I don't have the online sitting in front of me. So number 5, key number 5, and we're going to be just on time, I think. Key number 5 is starting right now. The mission is adding 100 new students to the school as fast as humanly possible. And whether you're in person or online, I'm approaching this exactly the same, no matter what. Christmas is coming up. Martial arts in this era is a wonderful gift for anyone to give anyone who's suffered from the stress and strain of lockdowns, who suffered from the binge eating and sitting on the couch for hours on end during, COVID quarantines and government lockdowns, things like that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Parents are in pain. Families are in pain. Children are in pain. We need to help them. It's our moral duty and responsibility to help people overcome the mental, physical, and psychological, mental, psychological, the anguish that they're going through, overcome the challenges that have arisen from COVID, aside from just the disease itself, right? So one of the things that we're focused on a ton right now is referrals, right? Generating referrals. These are people who already know you, like you, and trust you. They love what you do. They are your absolute best source of referrals, right? Of new students coming in the door. So we're having contests. We're doing Parents Night Out. We've even done a virtual Parents Night Out. Go figure, right? But every single thing that we can possibly do to generate referrals, we have a huge focus on that right now. Number 2, we're making a huge focus on family add-ons. As I described earlier, while we're doing distance classes, we often see the little brother running around in the background, right? We often see mom and dad watching from the closet or from the hallway. We're getting them in class, right? We're saying, "Hey, mom, don't walk past. Come back. Come, ma'am, come over here. Okay, cool. Now stand here and hold this target for Johnny." Okay. And then she holds the target for Johnny. Now switch. Now, Johnny, you hold the target for mom and look at how much fun they're going to have. Right. So we're making a huge focus on family add-ons. And I think this is really something that you need to be focused on as well. And we're making a huge focus on the current prospect database. So everybody that we have in our database, every lead from the last 100 years, right? Especially the last 2 or 3 years, we are going to town. Special offers, special discounts, special Christmas specials for Christmas, specials for New Year's, every single thing, tons of content, tons of testimonials, tons of value-based articles about the benefits of martial arts, things like that. A real huge focus on maximizing the prospect database right now. Does that make sense? So another step in adding 100 new students fast is we're really looking. What I say to the staff all the time, keep your head on a swivel. Pay attention to what's happening offline in your communities. Even though we have these difficult times, many communities are still figuring out how to do community events or opportunities that give us a chance to get in front of our market. So, for example, in Orlando here in Florida, now, to be sure, we are more open here than in some parts of the country. I totally get that. But even so, we've found some city-sponsored events in different suburbs and things like that, where they have socially distant gatherings. So, for example, we had a classical music concert very close to one of our schools, and it was on the lawn of a community center, and the lawn had set up stations that were 6 feet apart, where each party of 3, 4, 5 people, like a family, could rent a station and go as a family, go to the concert, sit in their little squared off area, had rails and everything, and enjoy the concert. 250 people at the concert. People want to get out, right? You wait, you watch in January, February, when this vaccine starts to kick in and people are, we have more herd immunity and look at all the pent up demand that there is. There's never been a better time, I think, in our history in the last 20 years for growth. There's a huge amount of pent up demand and opportunity out there, right? So anyway, keep your head on a swivel for community events and other offline activities that might be useful for us. We used a bunch of summertime staples too that were just good examples, but we participated in all sorts of things that you would see. Even, right now, if you look at Christmas, if you look at New Year, there are going to be all sorts of opportunities in February and March. I think that'll be very useful for us as well. We're also keeping focused on looking outside the 4 walls of our school. If you are locked down, if you have capacity constraints, capacity requirements, there are areas where we've, as I'm sure you have too, we've conducted classes outside in parks, in parking lots, large unused facilities. I'll give you 2 quick examples with the very limited amount of time we have left. In one location in Texas, when their maximum capacity was 10, they could only have 10 people at a time, as long as they had to be at least 6 feet apart. We found just down the street, it took me 5 phone calls is all it took. Just down the street from the martial arts school was a little local hotel who had all of their banquet business cancel for the summer, right? All of their weddings and all their banquets were done. They were dead. They were gone. They weren't happening. We rented their grand ballroom, right? For $500 a week. We rented the entire grand ballroom, which subdivided into 12 sections, each of which we could put 10 students in. Does that make sense? So we looked outside the 4 walls of our school. In another location, there was an empty big box store in one of the shopping centers where one of the schools was. And we contacted the insurance company, got an additional insured certificate for that space, for that address. And we negotiated with the landlord that they would let us go in there and square off sections, 6 feet apart, more like 10 feet apart, but whatever, tape off sections where we could have individual classes in this big facility where people could be really far apart. It was like a 12,000 square foot location when the school was only 2,400 square feet, right? So again, look outside the four walls of your location for opportunities. There are opportunities out there if you really look. And many municipalities have lax code enforcement and penalties and things like that to help the local small business community. So, for example, in many states, in many cities, many municipalities, they've eased restrictions on snipe signs, on tents and pop-ups in the parking lots, and on public sidewalks and things like that. So we've leveraged that as much as we can think of. We went and bought a few of those 10-foot pop-ups, and we've got those pop-ups in shopping centers where we can now have somebody sit out there and enroll people and collect leads, generate leads outside of retail stores and things like that. We rented a bounce house with a huge banner signed on it, a huge 10-foot banner on it, 10-foot tall banner on the side of a big bounce house. It just sits out in the parking lot, and code enforcement couldn't care less now, right? We've got snipe signs all over the place in the community. They ain't picking them up. They're not worried about it right now. They've eased and relaxed all those requirements to try to help the small business community, and we're leveraging that opportunity. So think about that. There are lots of things that you should be considering in that arena. In addition to that, a lot of local, especially, but a lot of media outlets have small business support packages and resources that you can leverage. And if you go to that atlasmartialartsoftware.com/COVID-19 page, I think there's some tools up there that you can use as well for this purpose. But we've gotten free time on local radio stations. We've gotten free time on the local television station. We've got, one was like a college station. We've gotten free time we've gotten free ads and free blog posts, guest posts on the local Clear Channel, local affiliates website, et cetera, et cetera. So many of the media outlets that in some cases are really expensive to work with right now, they've got packages and plans for small businesses that are from $0 to not many dollars, right? Now, do you think they might call you after COVID and try to sell you an advertising package? Or do you think they might try to sell you an advertising package as you're going through the funnel? Of course they will. Of course. Sure. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Right? But you could still get some free exposure too, right? So these are huge opportunities that we really need to be thinking about. We really need to be leveraging, and adding 100 new students as fast as you humanly can is going to be, really the key to making 2020 the best year that you may have ever had. And believe me, the market is going to be there. You watch the next 6 weeks, the next 8 weeks, the next 10 weeks we'll start something that the martial arts may remember for the rest of our lives, right? We may remember this period of time as one of the biggest booms we've ever seen. Look at the general macroeconomic circumstances. Now, we can debate the debt and deficit, right, and all that, but when we look at every other signal and indicator, the stock market is at all-time high, the Dow is at all-time high, the S&P 500 is at all-time high, technology stocks are at all-time highs, gold is 1850, I think today, it's at all-time highs. There's more pent-up demand and opportunity right now than we've ever seen in this country. I think maybe including the war, right? But this is something that we really have an opportunity to take advantage of. So these are the 5 keys to reopening strong. Again, you can come find me on Facebook at toby.milroy, or you can email me, tobymilroy@rams.com, or you can hit me. You can call my office directly and talk to anybody on staff, 800-275-1600, and we'd be happy to help you out. Now, I did tell Grandmaster Bowen that in appreciation for your time today, I always believe in delivering 5 to 1, right? And that 150 free tools that you can go get at atlasmartialartsoftware.com/COVID-19, I think probably fulfills my 5 to 1 promise, but I want to do even better. And what we've noticed, what we've learned over the last, few months is that even though we know the blueprint to turning 2021 into a record year, some schools don't have the technical ability or the skill to be able to do it well, and they need help. And if you need help with any of the systems we talked about, mastering online marketing, leveraging those sites to the best benefit, structuring them correctly, getting the data to work correctly with some platform that can help you follow up automatically and leverage these prospects into new students, I'm happy to help you with that. In fact, for anybody on the call today, anybody who's attending this AMA event, if you, for anyone who puts Atlas Martial Arts Software to work for their business, we're going to give them completely free a complete beautiful lead funnel website, right? The entire site, we build it for you. We customize it for you. We're going to do it completely free. Second is we have something called the MA Biz Academy. This is an archive and a library of everything you're going to need to market your martial arts school online or offline, ever, right? And we'll provide that absolutely free as well. Now there's tens of thousands of promotions and marketing campaigns there at your disposal, right? Tens of thousands. So this is an amazing treasure chest of marketing tools, strategies, and opportunity for you. We also provide social media campaigns for all of our clients as well, and we'll do that also absolutely free. We also provide the industry's only A to Z after school and summer camp programs that help you execute those programs. If that's something that you're interested or something that you're doing right now, we can help you there as well, and we can do that completely free. That's usually a $500 a month license. And for everybody who's on our call today, I'd be happy to do that for you. And we can do it for the first 60 days. This will get you all the way into 2021 for just $1, right? For 60 days, you pay $1 and you work with my team. We get everything set up for you. We get all these mechanisms in place for you, show you how the whole thing works. We set these systems up for you. We give you content, everything that you're going to need. My guys will help you with. And then after that, it's just $297 a month if you think that this is going to be a good fit for you, right? So you can go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/60 days. Go to atlasmartialartssoftware.com/60 days, and you can fill the form out there. Well, a little video there, watch that, fill the form out, and you can get this stuff started for you right away. Okay? So I'm at your service. My team is at your service. Our mission is to help the martial arts have literally the best year it's ever had in 2021. And I'm incredibly excited about the opportunity that's facing us. And I hope that you'll join the team and that you'll put these tools to work for you and your school, therefore benefiting every student that you have in your entire community. We need a lot more high quality black belts in the world to lead us to the next level and be the leaders for the next generation. So put these tools to work for you. Help us on our mission. Okay. Thank you again so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Any questions, comments, stories, opinions, email them over to me, call my staff. Be happy to address that after time, but I think we are out of time, and I promised Grandmaster Bowen I'd be done in exactly an hour. So thank you again so much. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much. We'll speak soon.